overclocking, for a potential secret weapon from Intel. No, it is not 8 or 10 core overclocking monster. It is rather mediocre 6 core 12 thread part. 10/100F. You cannot overclock it, and it does not even have an iGPU. So, what makes it so good then? Its price. In Europe this CPU costs around €130. In USA, $160. We will compare this 10/100F to Ryzen 5 3600. AMD counterpart have been considered as best value gaming CPU since its release in 2019. In my comparison, AMD processor is overclocked to 4.4 GHz. Why? Well, because I believe most of my viewers are comfortable with overclocking, so they want to see maximum performance from both processors, while not really impacting the budget. And, because you can. It is so simple to overclock 3600 on B-series boards, which you can get for $100. There is no reason why you should not overclock your 3600. First, we will start with productivity benchmarks. I understand that most people do not particularly care about productivity tasks with those budget processors, but for those who do, I have quick graphs. First set of tasks are in seconds, lower is better. As we can see, almost all workloads perform as expected. 3600 enjoying solid lead, from 22% to 26%. Except, Metashape. Metashape is software for converting a series of 2D images into a 3D object. 10/100F is winning by 50% margin. It is twice as fast. So if you are using only Metashape, Intel is a no-brainer for this particular application. Second set of tasks are in points, higher is better. Biggest win for AMD is in Cinebench R15 multi-thread score, 34%. Smallest win for AMD is in Geekbench single-core test, only 8%. With Intel losing in single-thread and multi-thread applications, AMD should enjoy easy win in gaming too, right? Well, let's see. As always, recording is done with GPU running the game. If you want most accurate results, skip to the end of each title. Those FPS numbers are captured without recording.
Statue must be the treasure.
Stay out of my way.
First game is Witcher 3. And already Intel is winning. 197 FPS for Intel and 182 for AMD. If we look at frame time consistency graph, then AMD CPU produces couple of spikes more. So this is easy win for Intel. But worry not, AMD fans, this is only one game, and to be fair, an old title. AMD microarchitecture will definitely perform better in newer games. Right? Next game is Assassin's Creed, Odyssey. Now AMD can enjoy its first victory. 123 FPS against 114. Frame time graph looks better for AMD. Intel CPU have more inconsistencies at the start of the benchmark and one bigger spike. I have to give this victory to AMD. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. This time Intel wins by a small margin. Only by 4%. Frame time consistency graph is very similar for both processors. Though, it is very close, it still counts as win for Intel. Red Dead Redemption 2 is first game where extra frames actually means something. 120 FPS against 104. Saving grace for AMD is that frame time consistency graph is really good without any spikes. But still decisive victory for Intel. So far it is 3 victories for Intel and 1 for AMD, not that anyone is keeping count.
Oh, is this why the zone is off limits? I mean, if all the packs here are like that. How about we take the bridge to cross the railroad? It would save us a detour. Damn, too high. Hey, Artyom, help me get out there. Shit! Come up now. I got you. Did you hear that, Artyom? Something large roaring. At least it was far away.
Metro Exodus is another convincing win for Intel, 253 FPS against 217. In frame time consistency graph, both processors have small spikes here or there. Another win for Intel.
Sam, if you want to confirm you're headed the right way, check your compass. It'll never steer you wrong. Provided you have a destination, that is. Central wasn't just home to Bridges HQ. It was also the seat of the Reconstructionist movement. If the president hadn't required special treatment, she would have never left. And if she hadn't, we wouldn't have either. Sam, are you having trouble locating the isolation?
In Death Stranding, both processors scores equal average FPS, 128. And their frame time graph is very close too. I will call this a draw. Last game is Total War, Troy. This is the only game where I deliberately chose to be GPU bound. It was mainly for two reasons. 1. Reducing quality drastically reduces CPU load. 2. I wanted to show how it looks when you are GPU bound. I expected average FPS to be the same. But it's not. AMD actually enjoys small win here, 132 FPS against 119. Frame time graph is much better for AMD. This is convincing win for 3600. So, it is time to wrap this up. Not that anyone was keeping count, because last thing we want is fanboys from both teams going at each other. That would be terrible. But Intel won. 4 victories for Intel, 2 for AMD and 1 draw. On average 10 for 100F was only 4% faster. Does not seem that much. And to be honest it is not. But you have to consider this as best case scenario for AMD. Intel part was locked to 2933 megatransfers per second. As it is official supported speed for B460 chipset. But I still consider both CPU configurations highly realistic. But stock 3600 should lose to 10 for 100F by 10%. I have a video in my channel, where I compare overclocked 3600 to stock, and margin was around 7%. Another question I have to answer, why the hell Intel was faster? It is losing in single-thread benchmarks and in multi-thread benchmarks. Well, answer is Ring Bus. Ring Bus is Intel core-to-core communication layer. And, it is designed to succeed in tasks where cores have very, very frequent requests from memory. And, I think you can guess, gaming is exactly that kind of task. So, which CPU you should choose for your gaming rig? Hands down Intel. Not because of small performance lead, but it is much cheaper. You can save up to $50, which you can put into a better graphics card, more storage or extra RAM. Coolers are equally bad for both processors. I would recommend getting cheap aftermarket cooler with 6 or more heat pipes. Motherboard prices are very similar for both brands. I mean if we compare B460 against B450. If you want you can wait for next generation Intel parts. Not because of the performance. Spoiler alert, it will be the same. But because price might go down a bit. But if you build now, there should not be any regrets, when 11th generation is coming out. Thanks for watching and staying until the end. If you enjoyed the video hit the like button. If you think I was AMD and Intel shill, hit the dislike button. What can I do? I really like both companies. They manufacture one of my favorite things in the world. Goodbye, stay safe and keep playing video games.